Good morning, Columbia families. We hope that you are well and staying safe during these uncertain times. As you know, school has been canceled for students to attend physically, but it doesn't mean that our learning is canceled. We have to date handed out nearly 350 laptops as loaners to our students to continue their learning. One of the things that we want to make sure is that you as families understand your role in this device loan. I want to remind everyone that these computers were purchased through Title I funds and are used by our students on a daily basis on campus, and we hope to get 100% of the computers back in good working order. In order for us to do that, we need your help. So I've invited our new assistant principal, Mr. Jesse Hodge.
Hello. It's nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, Jesse. And Mr. B, John Barbuto, our tech, to join me in this call today.
Good morning, families. How are we doing today?
Thank you, John. So we're going to go over the device loan agreement, which is a 3-page legal document that all families have signed in order to borrow a computer. Again, I want to remind that this is a loan, and the expectation is that the computers are returned once school resumes. We're going to go over some of the loan agreement with you. I'm going to talk a little bit about the loan agreement. Mr. Hodge is going to talk about the loan agreement, and Mr. Barbuto is going to talk about the loan agreement so that all families have a clear understanding of our expectations while you are borrowing these expensive and valuable learning devices. First and foremost, you should have received a yoga computer with a laptop cord. The equipment that you have borrowed is Brevard Public Schools equipment and is expected to continue to be in the ownership of Brevard Public Schools. In the event that your computer becomes inoperable, not from user error or damage, but stops working, please contact the school immediately and we will provide troubleshooting support for you. We cannot guarantee if your computer becomes inoperable that we have a loaner device, as our devices are limited. It is a responsibility of all families to mitigate for damage or loss. This means that you are responsible should your computer become damaged. Student equipment must be used in a careful manner. At the discretion of Brevard Public Schools Administration or myself, students that are negligent or destructive may lose the computer take home, and we may ask you to bring the computer back to school. Some examples of negligence include leaving the computers unattended, lending the computers to others, and using the computers in an unsafe environment. Some examples of these include using the computer outside, in a bathroom, near a pool, near water, in a car, or in other places where it could be damaged. Another responsibility of our families is using the computers in unsafe manner. This means that we do not want you using the computers in locations where they could get damaged. Make sure that when your student is logging in to do his or her work, that they're in an environment that is safe, that doesn't have a lot of interruptions or other issues that could involve damaging the computer. In the event that your computer may get lost or stolen, it is the responsibility of the parent to report this immediately to the school and to your local police department. You must file a police report within 48 hours of knowing that the computer has been lost or stolen. Contact me immediately if you need any information such as a serial number, but on the page that you signed has the computer serial number on that. Mr. Barbuto, Mr. Hodge, and myself are available to support you with any technical concerns, but your first line of contact should always be your child's teacher. If you're having trouble logging into Launchpad, iReady, or any of the other software, contact your child's teacher first, because he or she is most likely going to be able to help you troubleshoot any problems. You are expected to follow legal and ethical guidelines. These include, but are not limited to, only having your child use the computer. These loaners are not intended for parents to log into Facebook or to use for their own personal activities. You also may not be allowed to log into any sites that are not BPS approved sites. You may not download any software, any games, any plugins, any add-ons, or modify the computer in any way. Now I'm going to turn it over to our new assistant principal, Mr. Hodge, who's going to further talk about how to use the computer.
Yeah, so on page 2 of the agreement, it moves into the monitoring of the computers. And parents are responsible for monitoring computer use while at home. If any computer is found to have violated the BPS legal and ethical use policies or the filters that are on there, the laptop could be confiscated. The student is not permitted to install their own software. So what you see is what you get, and it is a device that's intended for learning only. Parents are responsible for filtering and monitoring streaming media when computers are off campus. This is a loan intended for accessing student learning, and they should only be doing about 45 minutes of work each day on these computers. The computer should never be used to harass, intimidate, tease, or make another person uncomfortable. Serious or repeated violations will result in the student's use of technology being restricted or revoked, as Ms. Roberts mentioned. Students may not give out their home address or phone number to anyone on the internet. They don't need to be giving out their passwords or posting any anonymous messages. You need to follow all the specific guidelines listed in this document and take any additional common sense precautions to protect your computer. Failure to abide by those details may result in full financial responsibility. Treat this equipment with as much care as if it were your own property. Mr. Barbuto, would you like to take the 3rd page?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, families. Keep the computer secured and unattended and attended when it's within your sites at all times. Keep the computer stored in a safe, dry place where you can connect to it, where you cannot directly monitor it. Avoid using it in situations that are conducive to loss or damage, such as leaving it in a car when you go to the store. Excuse me. Avoid leaving the computer in hot environments or in cold environments, and please keep all liquids away from the computer. Even though some of the computer is secured from damage when water enters it, there's other areas where it could get in there and completely destroy the computer. Maintain the BPS computer use policy, which your students should be aware of at this time. Using the charger and the batteries. Avoid using the charger and left in a position where the charger cable can be tripped upon. This could potentially trip somebody and injure themselves, and it could also pull the computer off the table and onto the floor, causing irreparable damage. Never let the battery completely drain. When the students are done with their computer after their things, the best option is to shut the computer completely down and then start it fresh when they're ready to resume their learning. Other things you can do to protect the computer is to be very careful when closing the lid. If you close the lid with a pen or a pencil or any other object laying on the keyboard, this could damage the screen. These touch screens on most of these computers are the single most expensive part of the computer and could be extremely costly to get repaired or replaced. Do not attempt to remove or change any physical structure on the computer, including the keys, the screen cover, the plastic casing. This will void the warranty, and families will be responsible 100% for the repair or the replacement cost of the computer. Do not remove or interfere with any serial numbers or markings that we have placed on the computer. I will go over a few of those on this laptop. This is a Yoga 11E. just like the ones your students have. Most of them will have an identification which will tell us what the computer number is and what card it belongs to. They will also, a lot of them have these yellow stickers that will have serial numbers and other identifying information on it for the school system. Now on all the laptops, we also wrote on the bottom of them, property of Columbia Elementary School. Do not erase this or remove it in any way. Keep the computer clean and dry. Do not use any chemicals at all on the computer. If you do need to clean the screen, use a soft terry cloth towel and no chemicals to wipe off the fingerprints. Always close the lid before you carry it from one spot to another. Your students have all been instructed to always use 2 hands on the computer when moving it from one location to another. It's not necessarily to shut the computer down when you move it, but it is a very good idea. If the computer is transported by a student from one location to another in a backpack, the backpack must be secure and waterproof. The backpack area needs to have no other chemicals, no liquids, no lipstick or any other thing like that that could melt and get onto the laptop. The backpack must have secure, fully zippered zippers on it. And please do not grab and squeeze the computer because you could damage the screen in the internal compartments if you do that. Now the computers that you were given, I set up to automatically log the student on when it's first turned on or when it's restarted. If you sign out of the computer or you let it go to sleep, you will have to enter a password. That password was provided for you on the sheet that you signed. If you enter the password wrong 3 times, the account will lock out. But do not fear. All you have to do is shut the computer off, wait 45 minutes as a minimum, turn the computer back on, and it will automatically log the student back in to finish their work. Ms. Roberts?
Thank you, Mr. Barbuto. That was excellent. And I want to thank Mr. Hodge and welcome him to the team one more time. He's done a great job. Now, families, we are very happy and feel very blessed that we were able to loan you such amazing devices to continue student learning. You know, at Columbia, we have worked very tirelessly over the last few years to raise our students' academic success and to increase student achievement. Therefore, we really want to be able to have all students continue their learning on these yoga devices. It'll take you partnering with us and parental oversight to ensure that these valuable electronic devices continue to provide students with a learning platform for years to come. So in partnership, I wish you all well. We look forward to starting instruction on Monday, and you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe.